Calling the doctor is not what it once was. Today, most hospitals and physicians have an online patient portal. There you can see your medical records and communicate directly with your physician and staff. But how can you make sure that you actually get an answer to your questions? I'm Kim Komando for Splash of AI. Every Thursday, I show regular people how to use AI to solve real problems, save money, and get ahead. It's free at splashofai.com. If you simply ask your doctor a question at the portal, no greeting, no "Dear Dr. Smith," just a short question, studies prove that you have less than a 25% chance of getting an answer. But if you include a warm greeting like "Dear Dr. Smith" and send a 100 to 150 word message and no more, describe your symptoms, when they begin, it's getting worse, and your specific questions, the chances of getting a prompt answer rise to nearly 100%. As long as you resist the urge to dump in a huge ChatGPT observation or self-diagnosis. Get more insider secrets like this with my free newsletter. Sign up right now. GetKim.com.
Getting your doctor to respond is one challenge, but Joe in Knoxville is facing a much bigger one: advocating for his wife through cancer treatment. Kim explains how AI can be the most powerful tool in his corner next.
AI is changing the world, and there's no question it's making technology smarter. But it's also making it so much easier for companies to learn more about you through your online activity. Websites you visit, searches you run, and the apps you use can reveal more about you than you realize. That's where a VPN comes in, like ExpressVPN. It encrypts your internet connection to help keep your personal information more secure online. Whether you're checking email or shopping online, ExpressVPN works quietly in the background, and it's easy to use. One tap on your phone, laptop, desktop, or tablet, and you're connected. Plus, one subscription now covers up to 14 devices at once. That's enough to protect your entire household. Best of all, it comes with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. Take your online privacy seriously with ExpressVPN. Right now, you can get 4 extra months by going to expressvpn.com/Kim. That's expressvpn.com/Kim. expressvpn.com/Kim. Joe in Knoxville, Tennessee. Help me, Joe. Help me.
Help me, help you, help me.
That works.
And I'm enthralled to call you today because it's not because I've had a crush on you since 1999 or that you're beautiful and have a summa cum laude mind. It's you're so kind and helpful to so many people. It's absolutely a pleasure to talk to you. And in that vein, I'm interested in my wife's latest cancer deal, and I've never used ChatGPT or Claude or AI. And I had a specific question for you since you're IBM centric. I looked up so much stuff for this situation of the breast cancer, and Watson has Watson AI. They have Google AI with LYNA specific for cancer, and Path AI and Tempo AI. And my concern is it has the context that they're clinically trained AI. Does that mean that I need clinical expertise to use them? Because to tell you the absolute positive truth, never used it, and I'm not really fond of AI. Kind of frightening.
Oh, I see where you're coming from.
Companies are so actively spending billions of dollars on the AI and not their employees, let alone the large manufacturing data centers. But subscript is I'm really interested in looking how I can use the AI to do medication research because I need more finite information on the side effects.
I understand.
I remember you and the wonderful time that you helped and took care of your mother. And I just got the $120,000 bill from the hospital and the $53,000 bill from the doctors. And we asked for a dedicated, finite reconciliation of the bills. Looks like a ton of double billing. So my question to you is, how do I use the AI to get into that and see how bad they're mooning me?
Okay, well, let's start first with your wife, okay? And then we'll get into the bills.
Okay.
Okay. AI is an incredible resource, and you have assumed the role that you are now your wife's advocate, and which is the biggest role that you're probably going to have in your entire life. Okay, aside from being a husband and father and son and everything like that, is that it's hard for people who are so stressed, anxious, and not feeling well to fight for themselves, right?
Exactly.
And the thing about medical care in the United States, and I'm sorry to say this, is that you have to be strong. You've got to say, I want to look at this now. This is what I've learned.
Right.
Okay. And,
Exactly.
And as a matter of fact, I had to take Barry to the ER probably about a month ago. And I didn't like the way the security guard treated me, because I went to the car to get his suitcase and I came back, and you have to go through a metal detector now. And this is at the Mayo Clinic.
Right.
So I go through the metal detector and I said, listen, I need to get back to, bay number 14 was where he was in the ER. And the gal says, oh, you have to go to security. And I stand there and this guy says to me, so are you here? I said, yeah, I'm here for my husband. And he said, and I give him his name. And he says, so have you been here before? I said, yes, I just went out to the car to get his bag because he looks like he's going to have to spend overnight. And he said, so you know where you're going? And I said, yeah, but the door's locked. He goes, well, I'll take you there. And then he goes, well, let me make sure that this is really him. And this, he's like, give me a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
okay, it's like I'm trying to break into the ER.
Right.
Okay. So so then he's like, okay, like he's doing me a favor. Okay. He says, okay, well, I'll bring you back there. So he opens, he does his badge, so it opens those big doors into the emergency room and then all the rooms rather. And then you can go left or right. And then I look at him and I'm like turned around because this is not the door I came out of. And he says, you know where you're going? I said, well, I'm going to number 14. And I said, I think it's to the left. He goes, oh, so you haven't been here before.
No, brother.
You haven't downloaded a
man.
blueprint and memorized exactly where every single room in a hospital is while your husband's sick in one of them.
So I called the hospital administrator, who is a friend of mine. She's been to my house. And I said, listen, I'm from New Jersey. I can handle this. And I'm strong, but, and my husband's sitting there hooked up to wires. I said, I can handle this, but I'm afraid for the next person who comes in, who's in a similar, who may not be as strong. And so this guy it's a training issue is what it is. And then she said to me, she said, took care of it. And then subsequently, I heard that from somebody else they said, you should see what's in your file. I said, what do you mean? She said, it's in there. Like, you better not screw up, or this one's going to be all over you.
She got friends in high places.
No, not just that. No, that I will stand up. And that's what you have to do as an advocate. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I'm 100% in your favor of everything you just recanted. The bottom line is that particular person had the little bit of power over you and wanted to make sure you knew you had it.
Exactly. 100%.
It's just sad.
It is.
But moving forward,
so
I've never used the ChatGPT.
Okay, well, here's what you do is you have to use it. You have to use it. And you take your wife's medical records and you take out her name, medical number, and then you feed it into, I would go to Claude. I would create what's called a project. And if you have trouble doing this, I'll help you off the air. Is that you go to Claude, you hit project, you make a project, and then you give the project a description, you give all your wife's medical records, her results, everything that's in there, and then you say, I want you to be the best breast cancer specialist in the entire world, the most knowledgeable person.
Okay.
Tell me if the treatment that she's getting is the best treatment. Where are the best institutions around me for breast cancer? Are there any clinical trials? Okay. And give me...
Yeah, I've checked into that. Yeah, go ahead.
Give me 5 questions for me to ask my doctor today. Okay. And then that's where it starts. And then then it'll start asking you questions. And you can also say, ask me questions that you need to know in order to give me better decisions. Okay. And
you know what? I hate to even tell you this. I'm even ahead of that. I fired the oncologist that the doctors at the hospital she went to sent us to because of her ineptness and her lack of proficiency. And she had the attitude of take 2 pills and see me in a month.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I said to myself, if this is aggressive, what are you doing right now to be proactive? And we went to the Clearview Cancer Institute in Alabama because MD Anderson and Mayo are too far from us, and we got 180-degree turnaround results. So I'm with you on the advocacy. I'm with you on the searching. I just never have used AI, and I want to know if it's
fabulous. It's going.
To what's going on.
Okay, it is fabulous. It is.
You're fabulous. It's okay.
Thank you.
Great, kid.
But
you're
no,
the best.
But
and you're so kind. And it's, you know what? You're like the Eisenhower, Einstein, Evita of the digital goddess routine. You're so helpful, and it's all in your heart. And I just really, I've been wanting to tell you this for a long time. How much I admire what you do and how you do it. And you don't sell books or CDs or DVDs, and you give all this willingly and free, and it's just exceptional.
Well,
so
thank you.
Thanks for your input and your feedback. And tell Lauren, your helper or whatever her title is, she was like Beacon's Movers, careful, quick, and kind. She was very, very nice.
No, Lauren is associate producer. She is really good. No, but before, and thank you for all those kind words, Joe. Now on my site, I have exactly what you need to do with the medical records.
On commando.com?
Yes, exactly. And if you have trouble finding that particular tip, is that Lauren, I'll give it to Lauren, and Lauren can email it off to you. But for anybody else who's listening, your medical bills probably have 80% errors.
That's a lot when you're talking about $120,000.
I don't know if you remember, we had a caller a couple of weeks ago where her brother, she actually used what I wrote with her brother and saved almost 50 grand.
Right.
So if you're sitting there with medical records or not records, if you're sitting there with medical bills and saying like, how do I even go through this? Because they have all these codes and numbers
which means nothing to anyone.
And you're sitting there going, I have no idea what this means. And it gets very, very frustrating, is that just hit commando.com. And what we'll do is actually make that tip right there on the top of the homepage. And it gives you the prompts, everything to go through. It really is phenomenal. And Joe, thank you for your kind words. And I'll include your wife and your family in my prayers. Okay, Smarty Pants, I know that you need more tips like this because you want to stay ahead of the tech curve. But as they like to say on infomercials, but wait, there's more. This is really fun. You can watch The Kim Komando Show over on my YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com/Kim Komando. That's youtube.com/Kim Komando. And if you're more into podcasts, well, you can find me everywhere you get your podcasts. Just search for Komando with a K, of course. That's Komando. And if you have any questions for me, or if you want to share a story that happened in your life, I love that. Just go to commando.com. I know there's so many commandos. Komando, commando.com. And then there's a big button on the top right. It says Ask Kim. I know, funny how some things work in tech. Fill out that form, and I read every single note that you send me.